Hi guys! Today I'm doing another makeup video. I'm gonna tell you guys about another true crime case, so let's get right into it, I guess. So today's Friday the 13th, and so I thought that today's story could be kind of a mix of like true crime and supernatural, where this unsolved case kind of started brewing some supernatural theories out there in the community. I know that I've seen a couple posted on Reddit, and I've seen it just like while listening to other podcasts and things like that. There are some like unexplainable theories that pop up while this story is being investigated. So I thought that I'll tell the true crime story and then I'll dive a little bit deeper into the supernatural theories today, just so that we can get a little fun mix of both. And my face is already prepped and primed and ready to go. I've had really bad acne breakouts recently, and they're kind of pissing me off. I'll do the best that I can with those, but I also have work today, and I kind of have to do my makeup before work, so it won't be like a full glam. It'll be kind of just like chiller. Those are my favorite makeup ideas to do. I like not a lot of full coverage, kind of having fun with like eyeliner and eyeshadow and stuff. I'll do makeup that's work appropriate while I tell the story, and it'll be fun. So let's get into it. So today's case is about the disappearance of Brandon Swanson. Our story takes place on May 14th, 2008. Brandon Swanson is a 19-year-old from Marshall, Minnesota. He vanished on May 14th, 2008 without a trace, and the circumstances around his disappearance are still mysterious in ways, and the case is still unsolved to this day. On the evening of May 13th, 2008, Brandon Swanson was coming home from a house party that his friends were throwing. Now, this party was really important to Brandon and his friends because they had just finished their freshman year of college, and today had been their last day of classes, so they were throwing kind of like a party to celebrate the fact that they all finished. Around 2 a.m. on May 14th, Brandon had called his parents because he had somehow ended up in a ditch on the side of the road. Like his car had like swerved off the road and he had got stuck, and he called his parents to ask for some help and for someone to come pick him up / pull his car out of the ditch. Now, on the phone, he had told his parents that he was stuck in a ditch around Lind, Minnesota, which is only about 20 miles away from his home in Marshall, Minnesota. Brandon's parents, Annette and Brian Swanson, immediately got in their car and started driving to meet Brandon, where he said that he was crashed in the ditch. Now, they were on the phone with Brandon when this was going on so that they could communicate easier and quicker. So Brandon was giving his parents directions as to where he was stuck. He was like pointing out landmarks so that they could come find him and like make it an easier like track down situation. Brandon and his parents couldn't see each other. I guess it might have just been too dark, or I don't know, but wherever Brandon told his parents to come meet him, his parents couldn't see his car. So what they decided to do is they decided to each flash their lights in the road to see if maybe one person can see the other person's lights or vice versa, and help each other find each other more quickly. So while they're each flashing their lights, neither one of them can see the other person's lights flashing as well. But over the phone, Brandon's parents can hear his lights clicking on and off. Click, 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 click. Like he can hear them clicking, but they can't see his lights anywhere in front of them. So after a while of searching around, both Brandon and his parents began to get a little frustrated because Brandon knew where he was. He was pointing out landmarks. He knew where he was located based off of where he was driving home from his friend's house, but his parents still couldn't find him no matter what he did. Brandon, who was fed up with being stuck in a ditch, decided to get out of his car, and he wanted to walk somewhere so that his parents could meet him there instead of the car. Brandon decided to walk to a friend's house that was nearby. Brandon's dad, Brian, dropped off the mom, Annette, so that she wouldn't have to worry about coming with them. And then he turned around and went to go pick up Brian at the friend's house. Brandon and Brian were once again on the phone with each other, giving each other directions as to where they are located. Brandon on foot, giving his father's directions as to where to find them, and Brian in the car, listening and following his son's directions. Eventually, instead of the friend's house, Brandon told his father to come find him at this nightclub in Lind, which is apparently a pretty popular meetup spot. However, sometime around the 47-minute mark of their phone call, Brandon suddenly shouted really loudly, and then the line suddenly went dead on Brian's end. And sadly, after that phone call went dead, that's the last time anyone ever heard from Brandon. Brian said that he tried to call his son back 5-6 times, but voicemail after voicemail. He started to grow a little bit more worried and decided to give Brandon's friends a call. Brandon's friends were very willing and eager to help out with the search for Brandon. So the friends, along with Brandon's parents, searched all throughout the night of the 14th into the early morning hours. They drove up and down streets, they walked through back roads, they even treaded through farmland. Like, they looked everywhere around the area that Brandon is said to have crashed into that ditch. Sadly, with no sign of Brandon or his car, around 6:30 in the morning, Annette makes the decision to call the Lind County Police Department and file a missing persons report. Sadly, as we've seen with so many other true crime cases that involve teenagers or young people in general or rebels of sorts, the police did not begin their searches immediately for Brandon. They told Annette over the phone that it's normal for young college boys to stay out late at night and to give it a few hours to see if he ever comes back. One officer is even quoted by saying that Brandon had a right to go missing. Eventually, though, after no sighting of Brandon, the police do end up getting involved and start searching for him as well. But over and over again, they just come up empty-handed. They decide to look into Brandon's phone records to see if they can pinpoint exactly where his phone's located at, and that might help them narrow down as to where Brandon is located. But when they dig into the phone records, they find out that Brandon's phone had been nowhere near. He didn't seem to be located where he told his parents that he crashed at. Instead, his cell phone pinged off of a tower that was actually 20 miles away from the alleged crash site. So investigators pack up and head to Porter, Minnesota, where they find Brandon's green Chevy Lumina sedan. Lincoln County Sheriff Jack Vizecki is quoted by saying, "It was off the side of a field approach, and the vehicle was hung up. It's sort of a sharp incline. Nothing major, but enough that the car would get hung up so the wheels are too high off the ground to get any traction." Now, after a search of Brandon's car, they didn't find anything worth noting, but the thing that they got hung up on the most was the fact that they couldn't tell which direction Brandon went in after he got out of the vehicle. Investigators decided to bring scent tracking dogs into the mix, and one of the scent dogs picked up a scent and followed it all the way down to the woods around the bank of the Yellow Medicine River. Now, this river's depth ranges from about knee-high all the way up to 15 feet deep. Luckily, Sheriff Vizecki decided to take it upon himself to search this river for multiple hours a day for like 30 days straight, searching and scanning for Brandon's body. He's quoted by saying, "At the time, the dogs indicated and it was believed that he must have fallen down in the river in that area. So we searched that area on the premise that he'd been washed downstream. But day after day after day, no body ever showed up downstream." Investigators began to suspect that Brandon's body was never actually in that river, and Annette, Brandon's mom, said that she thought the same thing as well. Brandon's body had never been in that river. Annette is quoted by saying, "There really is nothing to indicate that he's in that river. It was a long trail, about 3 miles. The dog actually jumped in the river, jumped back out, worked the trail up to another gravel road, and then lost the scent." Vizecki believes that foul play was definitely involved in this. Because of all of the cadaver dogs at work and all of the people searching the grounds, there is no way that Brandon's body has not been discovered yet if he really did succumb to the elements. There's just some way that they would have found him by now if he really was out there and foul play was not involved. Now, here's where the supernatural theories start to take place. After the news of Brandon's disappearance hits the media, followers start to suggest some supernatural theories at play. Paranormal activity is one of the theories that is widely suggested by supernatural believers out there. They say that given the rural and isolated nature area, there is the presence of ghostly or otherworldly phenomena at play. However, I must state that there is no scientific evidence supporting these claims. Other people suggest that there's cryptid encounters. Some people claim that Swanson may have encountered a cryptid, which is an unknown creature or entity from folklore. Now, there are several stories of mysterious creatures in rural areas, and a lot of the times that these cryptid creatures pop up is in missing persons cases. Now, once again, there's no evidence supporting these claims, but it remains a part of the broader speculation surrounding Brandon's disappearance. Now, another theory is the interdimensional theory, which speculates that Brandon could have encountered like a rift or a tear that leads to an alternate / parallel universe. Like the other two, there's no set evidence to support these claims. These tend to be more grounded in science fiction, and they reflect the intrigue and mystery behind the disappearance of Brandon. Now, like most people, I did a Reddit deep dive on this case, and I went to the r/Brandon Swanson subreddit, and I was looking into a couple of like the top of all time posts, and I was digging into those to find some like real theories about what could have happened that aren't related to supernatural ideas or anything like that. And I found a couple that I wanted to read just so you guys are on the same page as me with this and we can kind of delve into this together. So this first one is 2 years old. It's from Parrot Rix, RIX _, and it talks about like the main theories going into the disappearance of Brandon. Obviously, theory number 1 is the drowning theory, since the scent dogs already picked up his scent around the river. This person says, most popular theory I've seen is that he could have tripped, fallen into a river, and drowned. He was on a call with his parents. The call suddenly went dead, with him remarking, "Oh shit." I read somewhere that his father stated he could hear running water, possibly the Yellow Medicine River, where cops searched numerously. The focus of the search moved to this area after the bloodhounds led the searchers there. However, the bloodhounds did like stop on one side of the trail, cross the river, and then continue on the other side. This is also improbable, as if he had fallen in, the phone would have cut off instead of the line just going dead. The river was turned up after his investigation, but no body was found. But there is always the possibility that investigators or scent dogs or whoever was searching, they had missed something. Now, it's kind of unlikely that all of them have missed the same thing, but still, it's out there. Popular theory number 2 is hypothermia. Some people find it likely that if Brandon did fall into the river, then he climbed out of it, continued walking towards the direction that he believed was Lind, and that theory would make sense that he fell into the river and then got out of the river. Because the scent dogs tracked that, they followed down the trail to the river, and then they got out of the river and kept going on that trail. So the thing is that Brandon could have fallen into the river, gotten really, really cold, and then collapsed in some type of farmland. But the discrepancy with this is that they did search all of the surrounding farmland areas and never found a body. And theory 3, which is the one that I find most convincing, is the farmer theory. Now, the farmer theory has a bunch of like sub-theories that go into it, so I'm gonna list those and kind of like jumble them all together just to make one big theory. Now, 3 of the sub-theories of the farmer theory state Brandon either passed out on a farm and was found by the farmer, who disposed of him discreetly. He passed out on a farm and was actually ran over by farm machinery. Or number 3, Brandon wandered onto private farm residence and was murdered by the farmer that was quote unquote protecting his property. Now, despite these theories being mostly improbable, they're not completely out of the realm of possibility. Scent hounds were known to pick up traces of Brandon's scent on farm work machinery, but the specific farmer that the scent was found on would not allow police to search anything on the farm, which in my opinion is pretty suspicious. And OP forgets to write this in the original post, but I have heard of this too. There is a theory that Brandon intentionally goes missing. Now, after the disappearance of Brandon, his parents, Annette and Brian, enact a thing called Brandon's Law in Minnesota. Brandon's Law is known as the law that will require law enforcement to take a missing persons report without delay after notification of someone missing under dangerous circumstances, no matter the missing person's age. Immediately conduct a preliminary investigation to determine if the person is missing and whether the person is endangered, and promptly notify all other law enforcement agencies of the situation. It clarifies that the agency taking the report be the lead agency in the investigation. Brandon Swanson has been missing since May 14th, 2008. He was 19 years old at the time of his disappearance, which makes him 35 years old today. Brandon has curly brown hair, blue eyes. He stands at about 5 feet 6 inches tall and weighs about 120 pounds. He was last seen wearing blue jeans and a t-shirt. And if you have any information regarding the case of Brandon Swanson, you are asked to notify the Lincoln County Sheriff's Department. Their phone number is 507-694-1664. Alright guys, here's the final look for today. This case really baffles me, especially when you look at the pictures of where Brandon was located, where he thought he was located, and all of the surrounding farmland and area that he is thought to have traveled. It's very difficult to not get sucked down rabbit holes and learn about all kinds of new theories, and it's really important that we take this story in as a whole and really try to get justice for Brandon Swanson and really try to get closure for his family. So if you do have any information, please do not hesitate to call that number that I listed before. Thank you guys so much for tuning into today's video. I really do like this makeup look. I didn't even think that I would. If you guys want to see more videos like this, don't worry, I'm gonna make them whether you want to or not. And if you have a suggestion on a case, please let me know. Also, look out for the next couple of episodes because next month is October and I love Halloween, and I really want to do like a spooky makeup look and tell you guys about an actual like supernatural story, not just true crime. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye!